Trump just pulled the pin. He's officially reigniting the trade war with Canada. And this time, it's much more aggressive. And honestly, way more dangerous for us than most people realize. We're talking about tariffs, digital taxes, tech giants, and a complete breakdown in trust between two countries that are supposed to be allies. Trump went on Truth Social this morning and straight up said he is terminating all trade negotiations with Canada effective immediately. Not slowing them down, not threatening to walk away. He says he's done and that he'll announce new tariffs on Canadian exports within the next 7 days. Now, this is not just about dairy, steel, aluminum, or lumber. This time, it's about our entire economic relationship and the fact that our government just stood up to US tech monopolies and Trump did not take that well. Let's talk about what happened and why this could hit your wallet way sooner than you think. So here's the background. This morning, Trump went off on Canada over something we knew was coming, a digital service tax. This tax would target massive US-based tech companies like Meta, Amazon, and Google companies that rake in billions of dollars from Canadian users every year, while paying next to nothing back into our economy. Now, Canada is not the first to go down this road. France and the EU already did it. The OECD has been trying to coordinate some kind of global minimum tax on these tech giants for years. And frankly, most Canadians support this because we're tired of seeing American companies dominate our market and dodge taxes while local media collapse and Canadian businesses struggle. But here's the twist. Trump sees this as a blatant attack on the United States. In his Truth Social post, and I quote, he called Canada a very difficult country to trade with and claimed we've been hitting American farmers with up to 400% tariffs on dairy, which, to be fair, is a stretch. Yes, we do protect our dairy industry, but this is not news. But Trump acts like he discovered it. He says that because of this egregious digital tax, the US is now completely walking away from trade talks with Canada and will set new tariffs on Canadian imports in less than a week. Now, let that sink in. We've got 7 days before the next wave hits. Now, here's the thing. Trump's not wrong when he says Canada has protected sectors. We absolutely do. Dairy, lumber, steel, we've always had some level of protection for Canadian industries, just like the US protects theirs. But what he's doing now isn't about fairness, it's about punishment. He's angry that Canada isn't just laying down and playing by America's rules anymore. We're asserting our own sovereignty, especially in the digital space. And that's what this is where all of this escalated. Trump doesn't like that we're following suit with the EU. But here's what this digital services tax really is. Canada taking a stand. We're saying if you want to make billions off of Canadians, off our data, our eyeballs, and ad dollars, you should be paying your share in taxes here. The US hates that. Not just Trump, even Biden's administration pushed back hard when this was first floating. Why? Because these companies are American powerhouses. They're more than just businesses. They're geopolitical tools. So when Canada said, yeah, actually, we're going to go ahead and tax them anyway. And now Trump saw red. So now he's dragging our entire trade relationship into this fight. Here's where things get real. If Trump goes through with this, if he slaps tariffs on Canadian goods across the board, we're not just talking about higher prices at the grocery store or delays at the border. We're talking about a full-blown economic backlash that could crush small businesses, kill jobs, and drag us into a recession that we're already barely dodging. So if you're watching this and you haven't already, please smash that like button so more Canadians see what's coming. And make sure you're subscribed because the next few weeks are going to be moving fast. Okay, so now let's talk numbers. Canada sends around 75% of our exports to the United States. That's about 600 billion in goods every year. Everything from auto parts to maple syrup to crude oil. That's not just trade. That's economic lifeblood. Now imagine a 25% or 30 tariffs slapped on top of that. We've been here before. Back in 2018, during Trump's first trade war, he put tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum under the excuse of national security. Now, national security against Canada? We responded with retaliatory tariffs for our own, hitting the US, whiskey, ketchup, even toilet paper. It was pretty ridiculous. And it cost the North American economy billions of dollars. Jobs were lost, companies moved, and prices soared. And just when we thought we'd moved past that nonsense, here we are again. But this time it's just a little different because we're not just fighting over steel or dairy. We're fighting over the rules and the future economy. Who gets to tax the tech? Who controls data? Who gets to regulate billion-dollar companies that operate across borders? This is a fight over sovereignty, and Trump's message couldn't be clearer. If you don't play by America's rules, we'll make you pay. Now, the irony behind all this? Trump spent years preaching about sovereignty and about how the US should do what's best for its people. And yet, when Canada does exactly that for our own country, he calls it betrayal. That's not trade policy, that's just economic bullying. And where's the Canadian government in all of this? So far, they've been holding the line. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland made it clear months ago that the digital tax was coming. The Department of Finance even gave US companies 6 months notice. They weren't blindsided, they were warned. And guess what? Amazon, Meta, and Google have all been lobbying hard against this, not just in Canada, but globally. They're terrified that if we succeed, other countries will follow. And that's exactly why this matters. This isn't just about Canada. This is about setting a global precedent that tech giants can't just cross borders and vacuum up wealth without paying for it. And now Trump's throwing the tantrum because we dared to be following suit with the EU. But here's what could happen next. If Trump does drop new tariffs next week, Canada will have to respond. We can't just roll over. That means more tariffs, more price hikes, more supply chain disruptions. And if we retaliate, he'll escalate again. And that's how this works. Meanwhile, small businesses in Ontario are already struggling with inflation, labor shortages, and rising interest rates. They're the ones who will get squeezed first. Not Meta, not Google, and not Loblaws. It's the local manufacturers, the food processors, the truckers, the people who can't shift operations overnight or pass costs down the line. We always hear that Canada is too reliant on the US market. And this is exactly why that's a problem. When our biggest trading partner acts like a hostile ex, we have nowhere to go. Unless we make a serious pivot to build stronger trade ties elsewhere with Europe, Asia, Latin America, this cycle is going to keep repeating itself. So yes, Canada-US trade war is back, and it's not about cows or cheese or steel beams anymore. It's about who gets to call the shots in the 21st century economy. And if Canada caves now, we're basically handing over the keys to our digital future. We need to stop acting like the US is some benevolent brother, and we need trading partners that will use every tool it has to keep control. And even if this means hurting allies, even if it means hurting their own economy in the process. So if you're watching this and you care about digital rights, economic independence, or just being able to afford groceries next month, keep watching the story, because this isn't the end. It's just the start of a brutal negotiation that could reshape our entire economy. All right, folks, if you're into content like this, breaking down complex politics, trade, chaos, and why it really matters in our day-to-day lives, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got more videos coming, and please let me know in the comments, what do you think Canada should hold the line on the digital tax? Or should we back off and avoid another round of Trump's tariff war? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.